So I'm scratching my head and I'm going, shit, I've set up my business, but then I'm getting the chance to be a firefighter, and I'm like, what do I do? So I actually spoke to a guy, and somebody who had his own business, and I was like, what would you do in this situation? Biggest decision of my life. Absolutely shat it the morning that I was going in to say I'm leaving the fire service after 12 years. What do you do?
You're at work.
How do I pride them? I don't know what furlough is. Mary Ann, my missus, she came on board during COVID. My phone was ringing non-stop.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Taylor Talks Trades. Today I am with Marc Murray from Murray Landscapes. Marc, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks Jamie. Thanks very much.
Good to have you here, mate. Been seeing all your video content you've been doing on social media and stuff like that. Looks really, really good. So it'll be good to dig in a wee bit deeper and see how it all started for you. So how did you get into the trades then?
So left school to play professional football.
Oh wow, I wasn't expecting that.
I kept that one up my cuff.
Didn't
work out very well. Lasted 2 years. Ended up in the construction industry. Worked away on building sites, labouring, picking up experience everywhere.
Yep.
Eventually get made redundant and fell into landscaping.
Aye.
Set my business up in 2009, and here we are.
Aye.
Multi-award winning company.
That's us done. Cheers, guys. Well, go back a wee bit then. So what was happening there? So professional football player, like what? You must have been good then.
So left school at the age of 16.
Aye.
Had the meetings at school saying stay on at school and go to uni.
Aye.
I was never going to uni. I wanted to be a footballer. Left, signed with St Mirren.
Mm-hmm.
Played there for a year, making my way into the reserves. Got an opportunity to move down a division to Stenhousemuir. Played there for a year. Was verging on the first team, and then it didn't happen. Ended up playing junior football for the next 12 years after that. So,
and then were you just sort of like, did you say you were just labouring and stuff then? So you got into construction sort of that way?
On the sites, I was promised an apprenticeship as a joiner, which I was delighted with because I love working with my hands and building things. I was always wanting to be practical as well. And that kind of fell through. I was apprenticeship as a joiner, but I was on roofs, tiling myself, working for a cowboy basically. And then I would move about, work with another couple of companies and just picking up experience.
But you did enjoy it?
Done a lot of groundworks, I loved it. But I just wanted a bit of focus. I wanted to...
Was the apprenticeship bit important? Like, can actually...
For me,
like you wanted to be qualified as something? Aye.
And I was a joiner or a brickie. I wanted to do.
Aye.
The opportunity didn't come.
Aye.
So I basically had to go out and do it myself.
Aye.
So set up a wee grass cutting business.
Yep.
And that goes back as well to I was a young boy.
Mm-hmm.
I came from a housing scheme called Forgewood.
Right.
Off flats. Nobody had
no
gardens. 3-4 story flats. The council used to come and cut the grass. My gran moved to this house and had a big massive garden. And first time mum and dad are like, how we got to cut that grass? I mean, it was genuinely, it was up to there, right? And we got to lend a lawnmower. I helped my dad cutting the grass. And I can remember doing this every other weekend, just up cutting the grass. She eventually went to B&Q in Motherwell and bought a petrol lawnmower. And it was like, oh, this is amazing. And just as a wee joke, I think my dad back then, he's like, oh, I could start a wee business. And genuinely from there, I used to cut my gran's grass every fortnight. That was my pocket money.
Brilliant.
See, the following year, the neighbours like, Mark, do you think you could cut my grass? So I was getting a $5 for like working away for a couple of hours, do you know what I mean? But I built up this wee run for I was 14.
Oh, wow.
And I kept it going. So I've never stopped since then.
So you still got that run?
The only person that I still date is my gran's.
Really? Oh, but personally? Like you actually cut it or like...
The guy still cut my gran's garden that it was started for back in the day.
That's crazy, man.
So then I created this wee garden maintenance run. Used to work for the back of my car when I passed my test.
Aye.
Whilst I was still working on the sites and stuff like that.
Yep.
So see, at the weekends when everybody was going out drinking and getting mad with it, I could go out to an extent, but I knew I had my grass cutting on today on the Sunday.
That's good.
But I was dedicated. I knew I wanted to do something.
Yep.
Plus, I loved the extra cash.
Aye.
And then I get made redundant, and that's what kind of gave me a kick up the arse.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I either go and find a job, or I just keep cutting grass.
Aye.
I said that to my mum, and she looked at me as if I was stupid. She's like, can you not just get a job like anybody else? So I'm like, furious, raging, just hoping that she was going to support me and say, that's a great idea, Mark. But it didn't happen. But I still done it anyway. So I sold my Golf GTI Mark IV, black, shiny, 18-inch alloys, my pride and joy. I sold that for $4,000 and I bought a Vivaro for $3,800. So I had £200 left.
Did you still have that petrol lawnmower at this point?
No, I had upgraded
I
had
upgraded.
I was going to say,
I wouldn't even have bought you a
so then
one.
that was me. 2009, I had my own business, and I've just built it for there.
Aye.
So started as a ground maintenance business for domestic clients, and now we're doing commercial work for several businesses, housing associations.
And what was were you a firefighter at some point then?
Yes.
Where did I get that for?
Yes, so that's right. So set up my business in 2009, but whilst I was on site, I was keen in joining the fire service.
Right.
Again, probably for that structure and that qualification, a wee bit of direction. So I had been applying for the fire service. I was put in a holding pool. So whilst I had set up my business, I was in this holding pool. They then got in touch with me 2 years later to say, you've been successful. You're going to the training centre. So I'm scratching my head and I'm going, shit, I've set up my business. I've grafted away for 2 years. At the start of a business, you know how hard it is. But then I'm getting the chance to be a firefighter, and I'm like, great. But what do I do? What do I do? I don't want all that hard work just to go to waste.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually spoke to a guy, and not a business advisor but somebody who had his own business. And I was like, what would you do in this situation? Yep. What do you think? I don't know what decision to make here. He's like, why don't make a decision, just go with it. So it basically was making a decision. The decision was just go with the two of them.
Just see what happens.
So I went to the training school for the fire service while still maintaining my gardens.
Mm-hmm.
And then I became a full-time firefighter, employed several staff that year, and then just grew the business for there. So my time in the fire service, I grew Murray Landscapes behind the scenes, and we then got to a point where I had to make the decision, how far do I want to take Murray Landscapes, how serious am I in business, and my loyalty lay with the business, and that's my passion. So
that's class.
Biggest decision in my life, absolutely shat it the morning that I was going in to say I'm leaving the fire service after 12 years.
That's a secure job though, eh?
Secure job, pension,
the
environment, working with fellow colleagues and stuff like that. Getting to drive a fire engine every day. It's good, but I know my direction and where I want to go. So
that's brilliant, man.
I made the decision and
that's even harder.
Left the fire service.
Like that's even harder because I just left being a roofer to go and be a roofer for myself essentially. But it was like you sort of always know you're like, if it doesn't work out, I can be a roofer for somebody else somewhere else or whatever. But like sort of like that's quite a big break. And a lot of the time people say like later in life they wouldn't be able to like step into business because like they've maybe got like wife and children or partner and children and like a mortgage or whatever and they can't really give up that guaranteed salary. But like that must have been like I can see why
again it was I've got my missus and my wee boy as well.
Yeah.
And that was a big decision. But what if the business doesn't work out? Where are we going to pay the mortgage fee? It'll work out.
You sometimes need that though, sink or swim.
You need to step outside your comfort zone. So I was at a point where I was ready to step outside the next comfort zone and go for that.
Aye, good on
and you know what? It was great.
Aye.
Challenging.
Aye.
But that's nearly 2 years I've left the fire service.
Aye.
And I've seen the business grow leaps and bounds. I've been involved.
So you're all in on the business at that point. And what was sort of, there must have been a lot of challenges then when you were like trying to keep the sort of garden maintenance side running, but like you're actually at work. Hi guys, just a quick message from our podcast sponsor Scope Branding. We use the guys at Scope Branding for all of our branded workwear and also our podcast merch. So I would highly recommend them. Good quality, good prices, and really good service. Go and check them out on their socials just now and enjoy the rest of the show.
Nightmare. Pull my hair at times. So yeah,
that must have built then quite a lot of resilience in you though, like, and that's sort of almost like what as entrepreneurs really need is like you need to be able to like
problem
deal
solver,
with multiple things,
making decisions. Yep, 100%. So, and I think I've actually realised that I thrive on that. I like a bit of pressure. I like solving problems to then see the result at the end of it.
That's
so getting through that time, I knew, or I learned what I needed to do for that period of time to get to the next stage, which was growing a team that would be able to take on the responsibilities.
That'll serve you quite well, I think, as well, because a lot of the time, you know, like trades business owners just struggle to let go and step away from it. But like you've actually had a taste of that. Probably knew you're all in. It's probably back to being I'm scared to let go again. But like at least you've had a taste of it and how it works. When I look at my business, I think it was 2016, and we'd got a puppy. Like I think it was around about Christmas time, but we'd just moved into a. Funnily enough, like you'll probably relate to this, but we'd moved into a new build and the back garden was like saturated. The grass was like terrible. Like that is a new build thing. They just didn't get the drainage right. So Kelly was out the back with a wee puppy, and the puppy had started running rings round her own, still on the lead at the time, and she fell over and like snapped her leg, like a real bad one, like really bad. And at that point, like I would already been up and running a few years, had a few guys with me, like we were kind of moving off as a business, but it wasn't it was more like sole trader type of thing. And at that point I had like no option but to let the team operate, because she had a broken leg, and it was like, because the time of year, I think she was in hospital for like 6-7 weeks or something to get this operation. It was mental. So I was like in the school runs, had this puppy to contend with, the business, like it was mental. But that was the first time, like maybe without that break, I would never have understood in my head how it looks to build something to run without you as such. And so I'm relating to you in that sense, where like when you had the fire fighting job, and then you just had no choice but to learn that there. So them skills will probably serve you quite well, I would think.
Totally. Another difficulty was when I moved on to the shifts in the fire service, she'd done 4 on, 4 off.
Yeah.
She'd done 2 days, 2 nights, and then 4 off.
Aye.
So the 4 off was great.
Yeah.
Because we had this time.
And would you just go out
work in the business? I was either working in the business and starting to work on the business.
Yeah.
But then when you're doing that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then your first day shift back in the fire station was the Friday, then day shift in the Saturday, then night shift in the Sunday, then night shift in the Monday.
Wow.
And then you're ready to go back to your landscaping job the following day, and you're like, so there's times you're pulling your hair out if you've not got the team around you to support you.
That's quite serious.
So there was times it was tough, but I had to grow that team and make sure I had the right guys.
Yep.
And I've still got some of the guys employed with me at the minute.
That's good.
Which is great.
That's good.
But it was challenging times, and then
how did it sort of move on then? So like you had the grass cutting maintenance side, but like everything I see for you guys is pretty much like really good looking bespoke sort of landscaped gardens as such, like full shooting match. Was that a transition at one point, or
just a gradual probably? So we went from the garden maintenance for your homeowners, and continued that even although I had a team. So they were totally looking after that, and I was getting the opportunity to do small projects for our clients that we maintained their garden. Or maybe want to upgrade their patio and new fences and decking, blah blah blah. So then I wanted to dip my toe in the water there, and done a few short courses and working at what's the best practices to carry out these installs, because I know our industry's plagued with
cowboys. Basically.
And that was my kind of driving factor. How can I be different from everybody else? Everybody else has got a white rusty van, and nobody knows who owns the business. I wanted everybody to know that Marc Murray owns Murray Landscapes and have it on the vans. And so it just progressed from there. But again, I wanted to get better. That continuous improvement's just ingrained in me. I want to do the best I possibly can at whatever stage I'm at. So then we took on bigger projects and employed general builders and guys with experience. So we would do more and more. And it's now progressed into a bespoke design and build landscaping company that basically works for high net worth clients. We know who our clients are. They want to work with us. And they get the service that they require for achieving their
So you
dream
then
garden.
Just work for everybody and anybody. It's almost like, look,
we can't.
That's
we can't.
Good.
So it's a small team for this, for the latter landscaping projects. But the projects that we're producing are really high end. And the clients that we work for, they're wanting the meticulous attention to detail and the best porcelain and all the things matter to them, which I love because I've got high attention to detail. So this kind of probably all transpired during COVID. Everybody was, it must have been great having a landscaping business during COVID because you were the only people that could go out and make money, like joiners and plumbers and are becoming landscapers, right? I was pulling my hair out. Again, surprised I've got a wee bit left, you know.
It's thinning out.
I know. That's another story. So during COVID, I wasn't just out earning cash doing all these landscaping jobs. I had a career in the fire service.
Right. So that was still at that time?
Dealing with COVID at the forefront.
Oh, wow.
As well as trying to build and grow a business. Most stressful time of my life.
And it would have been busy, but doesn't it mean that...
Busy, but horrible busy. As in...
Like too busy. Everybody wants you...
During that lockdown period, we had a big project on, landscaping project, as well as a maintenance clients to obviously service, as well as I had my career in the fire service. A landscaping project came to a halt, so did maintenance contracts, but I was still in the fire service. Whilst I'm in the fire service, I'm dealing with my employees who...
are furloughed now.
Aye. What does furlough mean? What do you do?
You're at work.
How do I pay them? I'm trying to put a fire out, mate. I don't know what furlough is.
That's
so
wild, man.
I was also dealing with that, and it was a massive learning curve. And then I had to go back and actually be on the tools cutting the grass because I had guys on furlough or people who had medical conditions that couldn't or didn't want to come out and do the work. But my fear was if we don't service our clients, there's a chance that somebody else will come in. And I had built, and it was more my commercial clients that I was worried about. And that was the turning point during COVID or just after the lockdown and stuff. We decided as a business, we no longer carry out garden maintenance for domestic clients. It's commercial only. So we've got our commercial ground maintenance service and bespoke landscaping service.
That's interesting.
Two of them totally different, but they also cross paths. If I'm maintaining your grass at Taylor Talk Studios, and then you go in and have a wee feel for Murray Landscapes, you could maybe want work done at your house.
Makes
or
sense.
if we do a bespoke build for you, high net worth client, good chance you've got a business, that will need maintained as well.
Makes
So
sense.
the crossover, so it's quite good that way.
That's quite good,
but yeah.
That's interesting.
It's been.
That is interesting. That's like, I didn't even think about the COVID thing there. I was like, that must have been mental. And then...
Also, sorry, during COVID as well, that was the point that we changed the landscaping side of the business to the bespoke service, because you could ask Mary Ann, my missus, she came on board during COVID. My phone was ringing non-stop.
Well, everybody couldn't go on holiday, and they did actually want to finally do that dream project. That because even for us as a roofing company during that spell, we had like people saying to us, right, we're going to get the roof done and we'll just like, you know, they were going the full hog with it, even though it was just a roof really, but you know, like they were maybe taking more attention to what tiles they would choose, what colours they went with, because they had more time, and they were but they would even say to us, they were like, I never got my crews last year because the time it kicked in, and then, you know, like COVID kind of went a good 18 months to like,
it was a couple of years,
wasn't it? So it was like, this is my two cruises going on that roof, and you know, and stuff like that. But I was like,
I can relate to that.
I think that like the people who just knuckled down and did the right things during COVID.
Yep.
Got successful, I think. Like, it was a massive turning point for us from the point of view. The furlough was amazing for me. I was thankfully wasn't actually putting out fires. I was only putting out business fires really in my mind. But it was that was the first time I ever like I just got everything out my head and put it all on a whiteboard and went, right, where's my business actually at? I've not stopped for like years. I've just been on the hamster wheel plummeting forward. And I kind of broke it all down, and I made some changes at that time, and it was like stuff that served us really well. And that's when we probably moved from having me sort of doing most of the office side, but actually the guys on the tools, like me sort of looking after all of them, and then I built a team that sort of looked after them. And that's when I was like, I just almost go, right, put that person in. If they spend 40 hours there on that, they'd probably enjoy it. Like, you know, answering the phones, for example, because we're the opposite for you in terms of the maintenance commercial stuff. Like, we are 95% homeowner, so like our phone rings all day every day because it's got to, or we wouldn't be busy. So like, you know, I'm like, right, put somebody on them phones who loves being on the phones, that loves customer care for 40 hours, and then put somebody in the finance stuff in-house 40 hours there, and that'll help the accountant and the bookkeeper make all that better. And, you know, like, just put all the bits in place. And I probably drew a lot of that out during COVID. I'd kind of heard about it, and I'd maybe worked with like mentors and read certain books and thought, but at that point I actually got enough time to look at it and be like, that actually makes sense. And then I think at that point I took one of my sort of longest serving roofers. He came off the tools, and he sort of he's like yardsman here now, but actually there's so much more than that. Like, he buys materials, he'll help the guys on site, he assigns in and out the plant and everything. So he's like, does pretty much everything, like everything and anything to do with the operations side. But that was just like such a big change. It was like just one person, but like having that extra support. Like, I didn't need to go to site anymore. Like, he could go to all the sites.
And then that's when you see the opportunities coming.
Yeah, and then I'd be in the office and I'd be like phoning him and saying, can you go there and do that? And then take maybe that tile hoist for there to the next job. And then now all of a sudden, like, these two roofs are like getting loaded the same day. And, you know, all the efficiencies were all coming in at that point. And I was like, I was looking at it, it was like, we were really quite profitable during those COVID years. And I think it was just because for once you were like, what's going to happen? We need to like actually, like, you had to be efficient, and you tightened everything up. And it was what a transformational time, really. But only like some people, unfortunately, it kind of ruined their business.
Totally.
But a lot of people just did lie down to it as well, and just, you know, just went, oh well, like, that's it. But you just had to believe there's got to be a life after COVID. But
and then that's when resilience is.
Aye, and it certainly does build the resilience in you. And like, I couldn't even actually imagine what it must have been like being like 4 on, 4 off during that. But but this is a crazy thing as well, right? So even though you had that then, I bet you now it's like it should technically be easy, but it's just no. Do you know what I mean? It's like how, like, you just find and I think that goes back to what you were saying, is like, I think we're all quite like this sort of business owner, entrepreneurial kind of mind, is like we thrive off of the deadlines, the high pressure decision making. So like, when things get quiet because it's running good, like,
you need something else.
Go and get a new problem. Like, I see it like that. Like, when I'm talking about like almost putting all the bits of the puzzle in, and they're like, that person in there for 40 hours, that person in there, and sometimes I just see it and I'm like, oh, that runs quite well. I'm like, might as well like start a podcast and put more pressure on myself, or I'll start another business or whatever. And it's like, you just feel that
sometimes
space.
You just, when you take that wee step back, you just see the opportunities, and
it is there.
You've got the time to then grasp the opportunities and then go for it.
And the thing is as well, it's like, you probably couldn't not do it, but it's when you do it and you step out, and then all of a sudden you are faced with like, you've got 2 plates to spin at the one time. It sometimes just becomes so difficult. But that is what really makes a good business owner, in my opinion, because you've no option but to somehow find the solution. Like, that same way, like, you didn't have an option. You were like, you had the firefighting career and you had that. Like, there wasn't oh well, just bin one of them off, like, sort of thing. Although obviously you made a choice at one point, but when you're in the middle of it,
you just need to.
You can't just go, I'll just not go in the day.
You just need to go on with it. You need to find the solution. You need to find the guys, the equipment, and it's going to make it better. And you get by in that situation.
And
then when you look back, you go, how the hell did that
happen? How am I still
here? But then I realise, and I do reflect over the last kind of 18 months, and I see how the business has grown again, and the service that we're providing is.
And that's like you having your full attention on it as well.
Yep.
Like, it must have been a big like turning point, and that'll compound as well.
Oh, definitely.
Because like just the longer that goes, the more like you're focusing on that one thing. And the fact that you found a niche as well, and you're not just servicing everybody and anybody. I think like a lot of trades business owners, like you kind of need to do that at the start because you just need to be busy. You've got a bill, a lot of bills to pay, but you know, mortgage and family to look after. You've just got to make it happen. But at some point, that next level is what's the niche going to be? And I think for everybody it's different. Ours has been the homeowner model. Like, I love the fact that like we're in control of that. Like we're the main contractor basically on the job. We can make sure everything goes smooth, start to finish. It's all in our hands. And if we get it wrong, it's in our hands as well. So we can say, oh, right, we need to tweak that or make that better. And it just cash flows really well. As well. It's like our payment terms, and a bit like yourself, it's like if somebody didn't want to agree to our payment terms, then unfortunately we'll not be able to work for them. But it's very rare that I've ever seen anybody who's like doesn't want to pay the right money or like pay a deposit and a payment plan for like a good quality service.
That's it.
So it does put accountability on us as business owners to make sure like you need to deliver.
You
can't just say, oh,
also we need to educate that potential client. The reason why they're paying this. Because they're going to receive these results.
You're going to get good service because we're not going to be under like a level of pressure that means that like if your job wasn't going right and I've not got money to pay the wages on Friday and I've got another job over there and I might just need to take these guys and stick them over there. Like, that's what a lot of these like small trades business owners need to do, unfortunately. And then now like that's you just been totally messed about, but that guy's got no other way of surviving. Whereas if you've got something that's cash flowing well, your business model's proper, your you know, it means you can go on a job start to finish and just give that service, and it's probably working for less clients really overall. But
totally. And the big thing for us as well is the diary is always full of us. So we're not working like a lot of smaller companies will maybe work job to job and wonder what we're getting next week. I had to make sure I had the solid foundations to know that leaving the fire service was the right decision. That we're going to be bringing in the income to make a profit, to build the business, to grow the business, to pay my wages, my partner's wages, put a roof over our head. But that's all done with having a diary full of headaches. And we're managing that because we've got that bespoke niche service.
Supply and demand, really.
And it's probably a book that I think you've read, Daniel Priestley.
Oversubscribed.
That's basically.
You've became oversubscribed.
I've based my business on that. I've read that book, and I knew you were
Daniel, if you're listening, I have been saying to you, you need to come on this podcast.
And if it comes on, I want to come to. But I know I can tell like even looking at your business, Jamie, that you base your decisions on things like that.
This is the thing. It's like success does leave clues, but only if you go and implement them and try it. But like I was the same. We became oversubscribed, and that's what we ultimately are. The business model does work off of that, and that's we probably might be one of the only roofing companies that I know of that like we charge for a survey. And it's because like we've built that oversubscribed model. There's value in the service of actually just being able to get us out. And we didn't say that like in a sort of bragging type manner. It's like if we went to just everybody and anybody for free, then you're not going to get a good service. But
the question is, could you physically? Probably not.
No, that's what I mean.
How do you decide?
Exactly.
I've only got 10 people to go and see today.
Yep.
But 50 people want me to go and see them. So how do you determine that? And sometimes
you've got to have a filter mechanism. And I think that's just fair. And also it's not like any like some people get annoyed by it, I think, potentially like, oh, I'm not paying for you to come out and do a quote. This other company does their quotes for free. And I'm like, right, but that's if they turn up. Like they've got no real commitment to have to turn up. Like they're doing that for free. Like when we're saying like, look, it's like £30 we charge for a survey. That comes with like a guaranteed 1 hour arrival time slot. So like it's booked in, it's in the diary. Like that's that person's full-time job is surveying sites, measuring up, estimating.
And even at that £30, that is a low charge.
Oh, that doesn't cover their time.
To send a qualified roofer.
Exactly. With a van,
fuel, uniforms,
do you know, he's on his PDA, he's filling that in, it's coming back to the back office. They're like, it's not about, like, that's not a moneymaker for us, obviously. And it's not about that. It is just a filtering mechanism, really. And it's just, and the filter with it is like, if you're not sure about paying it, go and just have a wee look on like our website, have a wee look online, see our reviews, see what we're about. Like we're on TV and stuff like that as well. It adds a bit of credibility. But like, if you don't think that's worth 30 quid, then we probably aren't for you. Yeah, and I did, like, you know, we all need customers and we really, you know, we'd love to try and help everybody, but we'll not be for everybody.
You can't help
Some people need like the one-man band who's just going to nip round that day and fix it while he's there. Whereas we don't really do the reactive stuff. So we'll always, even if it's a smaller job, it'll normally be a surveyor will go out and like, so we can follow our like system, which is usually proven, well, as 9 times out of 10 is it ends up in a 5-star review is what happens, because you phone us in, we give the guaranteed time slot for the appointment, we go out, we survey it, we estimate, we then you know, we'll follow up, see if you want to go ahead. If that happens, then goes to the deposit. Then it goes into scheduling. Scheduling sort of scaffold, skip materials, whatever. Depending on the size of the job, there might not be all of that stuff. And then, you know, it goes to site. The surveyor who was there at the beginning hands it over to the guys who's doing the job, make sure he's got all the details. And then that they do the job. Supervisor goes out onto site, supervises it all, signs it off with the client at the end to make sure that they're happy. Then it comes back in and pay the bill, and we ask them for a review or to recommend us to somebody if you know, if they've been happy. And it's like, but if we miss something there and just go, right, we'll come out and fix that the day for you, they're like, how much is this going to be? Like, what about that? Like, so you've then got a roofer out there who's no daily pricing work. And you just send a roofer out and it's like, well, how long are you going to be there? Oh, a couple of hours. And then you're maybe trying to say to the customer,
a recipe for disaster.
It's
that's
not
going
really,
to fall down.
that's not scalable, is it? So I built a lot of it based on the McDonald's kind of hamburgers method, like watching things like The Founder. I don't know if you've seen that movie. And it's like how it's all systemized, and then reading books like The E-Myth. And like you see, like that's scalable, and that's what you want. It's not really scalable to...
And see, when you've got that system there and you know that it works, it makes your life easier.
And every time you skip it...
As I'm going to get to, I don't know, sometimes you know it's there for a reason and it works for your business, but for whatever reason it doesn't get followed, it always breaks down.
Oh, definitely.
As in, if I get a personal message on Instagram to Marc Murray rather than Murray Landscapes, Mark, how you doing, mate? I've just bought this property. I'm wondering if you could come and... If I then arrange with them, there's a lot of things in the background that they're not receiving. Do you know what I mean?
That is like
so they're no receiving the welcome pack. They're not receiving the slot and the diary, and things just start kind of falling. And then you give yourself a shake and go, really, I need to just stick to the system, no matter if they're a good friend or family or whatever. You just need to.
And sometimes I'm not going to lie, like I'll maybe get a message from someone and I'm like, I want to deal with it, but then I'm like, right, you'll need to phone the office, and then they'll phone the office and it's like they're getting asked to pay 30 quid and they're like, I'm Jamie's mate though, and it's just like, please just follow that system. I promise you're going to get the best service. That team's going to be better
100%.
at delivering this than I will be, because like some of the system that's there, like I didn't operate any of it day to day. So like I probably don't really know how to put somebody onto the system properly. We're on job management software now. Big change. Like I can't really work it. I just know the bits that I need to know.
You need to,
and mostly, you know, reporting and management information is mostly what I get from that point. I'll spend different times, like I'll maybe go and work with the sales team for a wee bit of time and see how they're getting on with things and what's happening and different departments, but not really at that level where it's like for example, if I got sent out on a survey, I don't know how to work that PDA. Like I would skip everything, come back and just be like, put the quote out the old way.
But then that affects the next person following you.
And that's it. So when you're following that cycle, like I was showing you down the stairs when we were like, we've got it from like call, survey, estimate, accepted job.
You need every stage to be performed at the best.
So like if you like just cut in halfway through, then all this bit's missing. I was having a chat with my team last week and I was saying to them, I like to think of our business and the way that it operates is like, and probably any business to be fair, but like it's almost like running a relay race and you've got the baton.
Yep.
And like you need to hand that to the next person and make sure they've firmly got it so that they didn't like fall over or drop the baton when they're running their part of the race. But if you don't follow that system and you just go, book my mate in, I've gave him a quote, I've told him it'll be X amount, we can do it on Friday. There you go. That's like throwing a grenade at your team, isn't it?
100%.
But I mean, all of these things, and it took me a long time to actually stop that.
Yeah.
Like it's only probably the last year or something that I've actually went, right, I'm like, I used to just jump out in random surveys and stuff like that. And I'm like, why am I actually doing this? It's like holding the full company back.
Aye.
But sometimes it's hard because you like
being brave to say no.
Yep.
Is the most important thing.
Yep.
And that's the problem sometimes with people like myself.
It's an identity shift as well.
You don't want to say no. You want to please as many clients as you possibly can.
Because we're like hard workers as well. Like you come from that grafting background. Like when somebody sort of asks you to deal with something, you're like, like if you're like, oh, my team will deal with that. There's sometimes that wee bit of, what do you do? Just sit in Taylor Towers up there in your ivory, do you know? And it's like, it's difficult, but that's just identity shift. The same way as it happens all the way through for, like, I remember, I've told the story a few times, but like, I remember when I was first sort of coming off the tools and, do you know, in one ear, you're sort of like, listening to audio books and reading books, e-math and different things that's telling you all this advice, but in the other ear you're going into the merchants to pick something up and there's another competitor roofer there, like you get on with them, you're having a blather and they're like, what do you mean you're coming off the tools, you lazy bam and all that, do you know? And you're like, but then you're like looking at this and you're like, who's right here? Is it this guy who's like had like a one-man band roofing company for like 20 odd years? Or like this person who's like sold multiple businesses or like scaled up or whatever, and you're like,
then you realise that's just a mindset.
Eventually you're like, there just needs to be that transition. You've just got to move over to go. You just need to become somebody else.
That's it.
You just need to become somebody else. What's I think you've touched on sort of the mostly what the model is now. So you've got the maintenance side, which is the commercial stuff, the bespoke landscaping stuff. I see your video content and stuff. You're getting quite big on that. So like you did the social media talk down in London.
Yeah. So I've been on social media for a few years, and then just really kind of wanted to step it up. What could we do a wee bit different? And I got speaking to a videographer. And he said we could implement X, Y, and Z. We can carry out videos and transformations, or we can have clients on doing a video testimonial.
That stuff's amazing, isn't it?
So for me, when he said that, I'm like, it was just a light bulb moment. I'm like, anybody can write a testimonial.
Yeah.
Anybody could potentially get their pal or somebody going to Yale or Google and leave a review. But you can't, if you're seeing the white of somebody's eyes saying that the service I received from Murray Landscapes was, then I'm like, that was gold for me.
Yeah.
And it came at a cost, but I'm like, do you know what? It's an investment for the business.
Yeah.
And again, looking at it long term. So I'm working pretty close with my videographer, and he also brings good marketing ideas as well. And it's just opened other avenues, like probably coming on here today, because you've maybe seen some of my videos. We were down in London, or I was down in London, last month at the biggest landscaping expedition in the UK. And that was basically a live forum, live chat with an audience talking about social media and how the implementation of video helps to grow your business.
So like it's Daniel Priestley again, he read key person of influence. So it's the same thing.
100%.
And there's no surprise there, because if I look at it, I took my Apprentice of the Year winner, Robbie, we went down to Birmingham, and there was it was the first time they'd ever put like a roofing hub as part of the construction week. But we went down and spoke at that, and like that's got to come from, they've seen you on the podcast or they've seen you doing video content. Like, how else have they really like seen that? So like obviously, like even like, do you know, me asking you to come on the podcast and stuff, it's like, well, I can see that like your own video talking to camera, so you're probably going to be able to come along and tell your story. Do you know, like that? It can be quite a nerve-wracking thing getting on camera and stuff, but there's no two ways about it that's like a massive way to go, and I think it's going to just get more and more and more.
Definitely.
I don't think. I think going forward next 5-10 years, it's like if you're not doing the video, like it's probably like the people who were still in the Yellow Pages book when like Google and Facebook and all that came about. But
so actually, just touching on that, I think it was 2020, and I was at a seminar. It was a business development seminar, and there was a videographer in giving the chat on social media and saying TikTok's going to be the next big thing. And his chat was, if you are not implementing video into your social media and your business right now, 2020, then you're going to fall behind. Just listen. But at the end of it, he's like, I want everybody here today, no matter how scared you are, nervous you feel, anxious, you feel as if you're not good enough, go home, set up your phone. You don't need any big pieces of equipment. And just make a video introducing yourself and your business and put it on. I was like, I'm going to do that. And I did. And then that was my introduction to putting videos on social media.
And it's still nervy.
Of course it is.
Like
even coming here, you're saying to me, oh, you've been on video, I was driving in here today, like,
oh I know. Well, I'm the same. I think this will be, I don't know if this will be 70 odd episode anyway. It's like, I still get a bit nervous about it. It's just like, I think unless you were doing it every day, day in, day out, then you'd maybe eventually.
But then once you're chatting about something you're passionate about,
exactly.
It just becomes.
It's not like you're coming on and you're like on reality TV or something. You're actually there talking.
You're trying to have a perception that you're just being yourself.
And that's what kind of. That's why I wanted to start the podcast, because it was like I wanted like real people, real stories. Do you know, like business and trades. It's all interesting, but like all the podcasts I'd been like listening to and looking at, like if it was maybe like the first podcast I kind of got in was like James English, and it's all like crime and stuff like that. So although it's quite entertaining and whatnot, and you get a wee bit of deep dive behind like the person and like find out things you maybe didn't know. They're kind of they're more like infamous rather than famous. A lot of them, but like, you know, they're kind of, a lot of them's got celebrity status. Same like Steve Bartlett's or High Performance. Any of these ones, it's like, it's great, but sometimes you just can't quite relate, because like the things you're saying there about video, like if that's coming from someone who is a celebrity, like a trades guy listening to that, isn't they going to go, I can do it? But like hearing you saying it, and then actually if they go and check your business out, and then see like the job that you've done with that, where like it's a customer getting a video testimonial, you talking through the project, how good the whole project looks, then they'd probably go, well, I'd probably could add that into my business. It's more relatable.
Totally.
But no, mate, I think that's probably us, give or take for time. If anybody's want to get in touch with you, what's the best way? Personal Instagram. Ask for to get the garden down.
If it's a job, contact the office. But catch him on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn's your main one. No, I appreciate that, mate.
I follow us on Instagram, Murray Landscapes.
I appreciate that, enjoyed it, and wish you every success in the future.
Well done, mate. Thank you. Cheers, Jamie. Mate. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks, guys. That's another episode of Taylor Talks Trades all wrapped up. Hope you enjoyed that one, and I'll see you on the next episode.